As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission, I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain, keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gon' give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Good morning, everyone. I want to kind of jump right in and take us a few more introductory words than I normally do about the Yale Center for Clinical Investigation, which has been in really tremendous and significant partnership with the Yale Cultural Ambassadors. My guests today are Reverend Dr. Leroy O. Perry Jr., pastor of St. Stephen's AME Zion Church and cultural ambassador to the Yale Clinical Research Program, and Reverend Elvin Clayton, pastor of Walters Memorial AME Zion Church and cultural ambassador to the Yale Clinical Research Program. Folks might have listened or heard some of our programs in the past in terms of Yale and cultural ambassadors, but and Reverend Perry and Reverend Clayton, I've been really sensitive and aware when I use the word Yale in any circumstance or any dialogue. Some people accept the term, some people, quite frankly, unconsciously resent the term. Some embrace the term of what does this Y-A-L-E thing stand for. But I'm convinced that for better or for worse, and I really think for better, to be in Yale Town can be a positive, and definitely is an additional positive to have people such as the Yale Cultural Ambassadors to be a part of what this town not only was, but what it will be and can be and is going to be. I realize I'm fracturing the King's English, but sometimes you got to fracture things and reinvent and reinstigate and re-inspire. And that's what the Yale Clinical Research Program is about because of their partnership with the Cultural Ambassadors. YCCI has partnered with Junta for Progressive Action and the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. Junta, as many of you may know, is the oldest Latino community-based nonprofit organization in the New Haven area. And the AME Zion Church is one of the nation's, not just New Haven's or Connecticut's or Bridgeport, but one of the nation's oldest African-American congregations. I pause there, Reverend Perry and Reverend Clayton, because as we celebrate Juneteenth and Black Music Month, and I think it's Black Men's Health Month. It just every month is something to celebrate, but it's also very important to celebrate things and to celebrate people while they can smell and hear and see their flowers. YCCI's goal is to really develop partnerships to raise the awareness of the Hispanic and African American population of clinical trials. You can learn more about clinical trials in this show through Reverend Perry and Reverend Clayton, and you're going to also hear about a really exciting event taking place very soon here in New Haven at the Gulf Street Park. Representatives of Junta and the AME Zion Church serve as cultural ambassadors to the Yale's research programs, but just as importantly, they act as expert resources, advising the Yale investigators how best to raise awareness of clinical research and engage the community. And this word engage, I'm going to substitute Reverend Clayton and Reverend Perry with to wed, to betroth, to become a Siamese twin with. Just not engaging it's just not a one-off. And you guys, since I think in Reverend Perry and Reverend Clayton will give us some historical background, but it's been more than 10 years of this wedding, of this betrothal, of this partnership, of this family building. Education is provided on an ongoing basis through monthly faculty presentations as well. Reverend Perry and Reverend Clayton, thank you. Good morning. Good to see you guys.
Good morning, Tom.
Let's jump right in and talk about community outreach. And I use this term engagement, and you can modify that and refine that if you so like, with the Yale Center for Clinical Investigation and this role of cultural ambassadors. And people may think of culture just being music and art and history, but no, culture is everything. You swim in a culture. So it's swimming. Cultural means education, economics. It's just not a plaything. Tell us about a little bit about the history and the Cultural Ambassadors Program at Yale, and actually it's not only the overall mission, but the continually evolving, effective implementation of your mission. Reverend Perry, you'd like to start?
I was waiting on my colleague, but I see.
Okay, Reverend Clayton,
Go right ahead, doctor. Go right ahead. All right, go right ahead. I'll catch it.
you guys are gentlemen. That's so important.
So, Tom, in 2009, we met together with Junta and the Hartford District of the AME Zion Church to look at the disparities in numbers of African Americans, Black and Brown people who were participating in clinical trials. When we discovered that the African American, Black and Brown people were 4 times more likely in some cases to die of heart disease, of hypertension, of cancer, prostate cancer 2 to 1 to their white counterparts. That's when we realized that we needed to be more active and more intentional in getting our communities to be concerned about taking charge of their health. So that's where we started, and we started under the leadership of Tisha Harris Johnson. And now we have shown tremendous strides in terms of going from 3% to 20% to 30, 60, and 80% in some studies in order to shorten that gap in healthcare and health equity.
Reverend Clayton, would you like to add on anything to that?
Yes, sir. One of our goals was to bring awareness to the Black and Latino community about the importance of clinical research. As you know, that every medication that is taken has to go through some type of clinical trial. And in order for the clinical trial or in order for the medications to work properly in all populations of people, all of us need to take part in the clinical research.
Yes.
So what that actually means is then that if the minority population was not taking part, and in those days it was only 3%, the medications didn't work as well in our bodies.
Yes.
So in order for our people to have the best medicine for them, we were asked to share this information with our community.
Good.
There was not a force, just educate the people about the importance of being a part of clinical research. And there have been some testimony.
Yes.
And when a person who have been sick and they couldn't find no other medication, and then the doctor would say, well, I have a trial. If you just try this medication that's in this trial, he said, I don't know, it may help you. And sometimes it may not have worked in a Caucasian male, but it might work in a Black male. So those are the testimonies, those are the things that we learned in the early stages of being a part of YCCI.
Excellent. And you know what, just as you gentlemen were talking, Reverend Perry, Reverend Clayton, share with folks a little bit about, and we're going to amplify on the upcoming health fair event, community event, Gulf Street Park. But it seems to me that you guys both of you led a robust and rich life before you got involved with this endeavor. And you kind of, you referenced already kind of the genesis of it. But share how that kind of impacted your ministry. And I say that in the sense of that people feel, oh, I can't change, or I know everything, or I want to evolve, but I'm kind of stuck. I always like during the shows to kind of share a little tip for my guests to share a little bit about, tipping points, what's made them go down another path versus the other path, what's kind of enhanced their experience in their life and their journey. So I know it's kind of a broad and metaphorical question, but I guess wanted Reverend Perry share a few comments about the how it's kind of impacted your destiny, if you will.
Yes, Tom. As a pastor, we frequently run across members in our congregation who have been disproportionately left out of this whole process. For example, when I was pastoring in Waterbury, the number of and in New York, the number of young Black uh, children who were put in special ed because of behavioral problems and highly medicated. And these individuals were used as statistics for building jails and prisons. And it bothered me that I just could not understand it, because we grew up with the same, with even worse disparities, and yet we were not placed in these institutions. And so, what we came to understand, that a lot of these young people, there was more than just one thing going on, and that schools weren't looking at it. When we were at Yale, Jeff Gruden had did a study where he swabbed children before or right after they were born up until kindergarten, and he could tell from these swabs whether or not they would have learning problems. It was a dyslexic study, and he was able then to recruit Black and brown people and recruit people from Rhode Island to come in and to mentor these young people, so that by the time they were in the third grade, they would be able to go forward to the fourth and fifth grade. So it's those kind of disparities. The number of African Americans who are eligible for transplants, it's nowhere near what it is for their counterparts. For African Americans who suffer from amputation for diabetes, it's off the chain for African Americans versus their counterparts. So when we learned all this, we had to find out ways where we could change those outcomes. And so the training we received at Yale, more than over 400 hours of training, gave us some insights. And we took those insights in this collaborative work to bring about not only institutional changes for Yale, because now researchers will reach out to us before they have a study and asked us to help them clarifying these studies and how to reach the unreachable. So, I mean, it's just been a fantastic journey. I'm just glad to be a part of it, because had I not gone to these early training sessions with Tisha Johnson, I would have never been aware of the disparities within our community.
Excellent. And Reverend Clayton, again, we're going to amplify the upcoming community event and other really significant, which I would say, appendages of the Cultural Ambassador Program. But share a little bit about your journey and how you kind of made this exodus move and entrance into the land of clinical research.
I think, Tom, one of the great pains of pastoring was during the time of COVID. And many Black and brown people were passing away at a greater rate than our white brothers and sisters. And even though more of our people were passing away, so many of our people were saying that I'm not going to take the vaccine. So as a cultural ambassador, we tried to explain to our congregations that it was not rushed as the myth of it was, but they worked hard to complete what was already in place.
Yes.
And Dr. Perry and myself were one of the early people in the state of Connecticut to be a part of the study. So not only did we share the information, we could say that we were a part of the study to show them that we trusted the process. As a matter of fact, I had family members who also were a part of the study.
Yes.
So this is just a small part of what we hope to bridge the gap in bringing our people into an area where they would take the vaccine or be a part of a clinical research program.
Yes. And so before we go to the June 22nd health fair at community health fair at Gulf Street Park here in New Haven, give me a little bit of context for some people will think, and I know both of you gentlemen have skill sets and interests and desires beyond the Sunday experience. But so how has the cultural ambassadors, is it just confined to a church outreach kind of community, or how are you kind of defining your ministry in this regard and your outreach in terms of activities?
Like
Reverend
John
Payne?
Wesley said, the world is my parish.
Mm,
And so
mm,
when you look at our members, we look at it in terms of family. So if prostate cancer affects the father, it's the mother, it's the daughter, it's the sister, it's the brother, it's the cousin, it's the uncles, it's the whole family. And our YCCI ambassador program is like that. It's not just our churches, but it's our families and the families and friends of our members. It's our community agencies, like our CAP agencies here in New Haven and in Waterbury and in Bridgeport and in Hartford. So it's the Omegas, it's the Divine Nine,
yeah.
it's all of those. And we use our newsletter to get the word out, and you have been so helpful with us in terms of the radio media and the Zoom town hall meetings. So it's really great. I like to also mention that Dean Brown was on our show last week, and she endorsed this program, and she noted the value of what the cultural ambassadors have been doing. And I think we've made a difference in terms of just giving the information that people need to know about, and to break some of the stereotypes and stigmas with, like, for example, if you got diabetes, or if you got prostate cancer, if you got heart disease, if you got mental illness, we have to break those stereotypes and those stigmas that go along with that, so that we can get the help to the people who really need it the most. And as Reverend Clayton said, COVID taught us that those people who need it the most are the people who are Black and brown people, the people who are disinherited, the people at the bottom. What Reverend Clayton didn't mention was that he and I have been in a number of these studies, like the All of Us study and the COVID study, just to name a few. And because we have shown by example and not just by word of mouth, it shows our deeper commitment to what we believe in.
Yes. Reverend Clayton, let's hear a little bit of your, let's hear one or two of your Old Testament stories.
Listen, this is a wilderness experience.
All right.
Are you still here? Wilderness is more than just in a desert somewhere. It's where there's a lack. And in our community, there has been a lack of information about how to get involved in clinical research. There's been a lack there, and by God's grace and by the work of a person like Tisha Harris Johnson, we have been able to help so many people see the importance of taking charge of their own health. When we look at the Black community, so many people have heart disease. So many people have hypertension. And so many of our children have asthma and autism and these things. And there are many studies. And so when we come together on the health fair on the 22nd, there will be pamphlets and physicians to bring about the awareness and the importance of these rare diseases to help us, because we need help there. And they can have a conversation with us, have a conversation with researchers, so that they can get a clearer understanding of how to not only help themselves, but perhaps help someone else that they love, or perhaps someone in the future that they may not know. It's going to be a great event, and I'm excited because we have another chance to help someone become healthier So
just before we go into the further delineation of the as you say, worthy and exciting activities that will take place on Saturday, June 22nd at Gulf Street Park here in New Haven. Reverend Clayton, Reverend Perry, I just thought as a sidebar, if you wanted to share perhaps and give folks a little additional context for your reach and your family definition, that you guys were down in, I think it was South Carolina, North Carolina for a training session and in coordination with some other folks. You might want to share some of that so people can understand that this is just not a one-off or a one-trick pony kind of deal.
Yes, Tom. We're working with equitable breakthroughs in medicine, and we were in Florence, South Carolina, where the population was 56% minority, working with the Medical University of South Carolina. And it's really interesting to note here that when they are now spreading out throughout South Carolina to deal with medicine in a new way, in terms of recruitment, in terms of how do we deal with minorities. For example, when they were in Charleston, they were sued because a woman who had a bill went to get service at the hospital, and because she had a bill, they would not service her, and the woman died. That brought some monumental changes in administration and structure, and they addressed that. So now anyone, whether bill or no bill, money or no money, now will have access to the Medical University of South Carolina. And in Florence, they just built a beautiful building, and it is just a testament to where medicine is going. And they partnered with Yale and Morehouse and TSU and others so that we can address these disparities in health. And Reverend Clayton and I and the cultural ambassadors were there. You were invited to come to be a part of that and to get the word out that we're really trying to make a difference. So what we're doing in New Haven is just one thing. And we just met today with Dave Coleman and Brian Sevier and Junta to talk about this health fair, because it takes that kind of partnership. I mean, it's very expensive to have these health fairs. We provide food and drink, and we screenings, and we bring about, last year I think we had over 25 researchers. And I remember, Tom, that you were interviewing a few of our researchers for your program, because we want the community to know that we care and that they're not in this by themselves. And we want to show them that there are resources that are available to them that they may not be aware of. And that's why we want these researchers to come and talk to us. There is a Tulsa study for prostate cancer. It's called the Tulsa study. You go in on Monday, you can come on Monday night almost, and without any of the side effects. It's a $30,000 operation, and all new technology involved, and it's offered. But if our folk do not know of this, they will not have access to it. So getting the information out. I mean, even with sickle cell now, there's cell transplants that can stem cell transplants that can come in and cure sickle cell. And and really you have to be young to do this, to get involved in it. And it's a very expensive study, but how many people in our community even know about this? So we're trying to bring this kind of awareness and reach to our communities, and so that they will take charge of their health and be knowledgeable. You know, Martin King's son died of prostate cancer. OJ died of prostate cancer. We're trying to make that, we're trying to get this awareness out of how important it is to take charge of your health.
Excellent. So tease us, Reverend, tease us a little more about Saturday, June 22nd. Do I have to bring anything? Is there an admission charge? Can I come in my birthday suit?
Well, we don't want you in your birthday suit, but your shirt is fine.
Okay, all right.
But I want to go back just a little bit.
Okay.
Dr. Perry shared with us about blood drive and sickle cell awareness. And sickle cell is personal with me, and especially the members of our local church in Bridgeport. One of our young preachers was a sickle cell person who passed away 2 years ago, 37 years old. He was born with this disease, and we've had several blood drives in his honor. I want to bring awareness to the fact that, as Dr. Perry shared with us, we have this new stem cell study, that stem cell transplant that can be really remarkable for people with this disease. And they even have medicines, new meds now, that work far better than what they were using in the past. So we just hope and pray that more will come if you have this issue. Now, it is free. There's no charge for the event. And it's for everybody. You look, babies in strollers, and people who are 80 or 90 years old can be present or have come the last time. And there's some Zumba classes. I saw some of Reverend Perry's members and doing the line dance, and they were well over 80. So, and Tom, they move better than you and I.
I know it.
But this is all a part of this fun day, and it's for everybody. It's for the whole family, and it's not just for the people in New Haven. It is throughout. Whosoever will, let them come and enjoy the great day and learn something about clinical research and healthcare.
Reverend Perry, you'd like to add on to that?
Yes, Tom, I'd like to simply say that, it's necessary for our people to put a face with some of these researchers. And that's why it's so important that, when you go see your doctor, you probably get about 8 minutes of their time. Here, these researchers are going to be here all day talking about heart disease, prostate cancer, infectious disease, kidney disease, sickle cell, autism, and clinical research. So you'll have an opportunity, and it's personal.
Yeah.
We have members of our family who died from heart attack or stroke or hypertension or cancer, and so it's so important for them to get the information that they need to bring back to their families and to the community of how we might address this. Your doctor may not suggest this to you, but through these health fairs, we're bringing about an awareness that can save lives and unborn lives. And that's why it's important. We have this session at the Gulf Street Park on the 22nd of June. You don't need to register. All you need to do is show up.
And certainly taking the reins of your health seriously. Not that people need more incentives than just this free information, but are there any additional incentives for people that might be participating?
Well, each table will have some giveaways, and we will have some, last year we do have food, and there was face painting, and there was the Zumba, and then there were some awards that we were able to give out, some incentives for people to come. But the overall thing is the greatest incentive is that you just want to live a long and healthy life.
Yeah.
And you want the best family as you would want the best for you. That's the big incentive. And the mere fact that we've got Yale bringing their brightest and their best to this event is also something that we should, make mention of to those in the community and the greater community at large.
Excellent. Reverend Clayton?
Yes, sir. There will be music. Music.
Yeah, Clayton plays his guitar.
Music makes the world go round. Dr. Perry mentioned there was food, but there will be some prizes. So, we just look forward to having a good time. We have a good time because the people there will have a good time.
Yes.
Last year we played a basketball game And people who don't play, they kind of they push other people out of the way so they get the rebound. But we're gonna do something different this year. We just have a 3-point shooting contest.
Excellent.
Tom, a little sidebar. Did you play a little ball in your day?
I am tempted to give you an honest answer, but I'm curious what your response is after you ask in the context of do you need an extra? I was captain of my if you want me to spit it out and make it plain, I was captain of my high school basketball team.
Oh, that's good.
If you really want
to
know
that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. So
and that's why we have a health fair so that you can help some of these ailments that we have.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jackie Davis was also captain, I think, of her basketball team, and she was able to help Reverend Clayton with a few outside shots and a few layouts to help him remember how to do that. So we do have fun. It's not all serious business about coming in and, being told some bad news. No, this is all good news, and it's fun, and we want people to come and enjoy. We wish we could have gotten some choirs to show up. We wish we could have gotten enough money to have some barbecue on the grills and stuff like that. It's going to be all of that and more. So we're hoping that people will come and share with us on this great event.
Gents, we have about 20 minutes or so that's kind of just how your heart, mind, and spirit and soul is directing you. Because again, this is June 22nd is an important event, but as I indicated, not just throughout the year, but for the last several decades, almost 2 decades, you guys have been, and your crew, your the disciples of health have been really on this battlefield of how do we maintain and survive and thrive, not just for this generation, but for future generations. Any thoughts about future direction for the cultural ambassadors, any new endeavors or activities that you're involved with? We referenced the Florida situation. I know you've been to, I think it was Puerto Rico in the past, but what's on the plate moving forward? As you say, Dean Nancy Brown for the medical school endorsed, if you will, the success and future and sustaining the program. Just tease us a little bit about how do you, when you look into your crystal ball, what do you see? What do you see for the future?
Well, one of the things, Tom, that we're looking at is how do we bring this information again to community, and how do we collaborate with community and with our partners and with the institution known as Yale. We had mentioned today in our meeting that the Omegas are planning a health fair, which will be in conjunction with the cultural ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular health fair, which is hopefully this summer, we plan to see if we cannot distribute PSA take-home exams. That would be phenomenal. And if we could do it statewide, there's a possibility we could do it nationally. So I mean, knowing that black men died 2 times to their white counterparts, this is groundbreaking. We're trying to figure out different ways of partnering with CAP agencies that see more than 60,000 people a year for energy. Yes. CAP agencies, Waterbury, Ridge, New Haven. How we can partner with them. We've even looked at possibilities of partnering with people like Walmart and Goodwill and the dollar store, where people we know go in,
yes,
and maybe partner in such a way as we can, set up kiosks in these places, or have recruitments, or talk about my chart. And I think all of this will have an impact on medicine in the future. So we're always trying to think outside the box. We're always trying to lead and not to follow. And I think because of that, the Yale YCCI has the greatest template in the nation of how to recruit, how to get the word out, and how to make a difference. And I think there are people all over the country who are looking at our model. And that's why we were invited to this EQB Med Farmer Project, because they see the work, or they have seen the work that we have done here in in the greater New Haven area.
Reverend Clayton?
Yes, Tom. 5 years from now, wow.
Or tomorrow or the next day, but just
we,
yeah.
Okay, we have been meeting with researchers, and we endorse letters to help them to move forward. But in the future, I would love to see more of our people involved in the clinical research programs, so that more meds, because it takes years for meds to come to market. I'd like to see more of our people without hesitation. I would love to see more of that, and less death.
Yes.
In every area, especially in terms of our infants, and when mothers during pregnancy, our women have a more difficult time, and we don't understand why. And it doesn't matter about money. Some of the most famous women in the world, they still have the same health challenges during pregnancy as the women with lesser means. So through clinical research and through the fact that we want our people to be treated equally.
Yes.
In the medical process, so that these things can get better. And I'm hoping, and that 5 years go by quickly. I'm hoping in that time frame, these numbers will change greatly.
I love what both of you have been chatting about, particularly since it is June and people have heard this term Juneteenth, which essentially in the past folks did not get information as quick as others. And so we're trying to reverse that paradigm. So really, again, for it to take place during this month of celebration of Juneteenth, also in my mind brings really an additional resonance and import to what you're, and just for folks to kind of see that the cultural ambassadors are thoughtful. They're just not throwing stuff up against the wall and hoping that it sticks. It's thoughtful. It's what we call due diligence. It's obviously researched, and it's sincere. I think that people don't. Many of us that are listening to this or have seen this show, and even know people that we doubt their sincerity and their authenticity and their accountability and they're being transparent. This program is all of those and more. So it's really important for people to see that you can work with institutions that might have profited from past oppression, and we can kind of look at a new day. What does a new day look like if we're involved with it? Sitting at the table and constructing the table, building the house, the house of health.
Tom, that's exactly the point that we were trying to make when we started. We asked what was in it for us, and what was in it for pharma, what was in it for the institution known as Yale. And so those were some of the questions we had to ask at the table. And one of our understandings was that if we could help with this disparity, that maybe we could get a seat at the table. And then questions like, well, when the drug is brought to market, can it be made available to people who could not on their own afford it? And that's the only. And in order to have that conversation, you almost have to be at the table. You almost have to demonstrate something. And on a sadder note, Tom, I just want to say that this whole matter is personal to all of us, because all of us have known somebody who's been affected by diabetes or sugar or heart. My brother had heart failure. My son died of heart failure. My grandfather had heart failure. My auntie had cancer. My grandma had. So we all have been affected in some way. But these things, when people had cancer or they had heart problems or they had stroke, these things were not discussed. It was like no one wanted to mention it. Nobody wanted to say anything about it. What we've been able to do with our program, because we've been able to highlight people like on your program and in our flyers, survivors, folk who have somehow gone through it. And so it's not a stigma to say that you have it. The problem is not saying that you have it, is not doing anything when you have it, and not letting other people learn lessons from your experience. So I'm glad to participate in this, and I'm glad to be upfront about it. And I think it's a conversation and it's a collaboration that we need to have with our partners and within our communities and our families. So this health fair brings us full circle. I wish we could have horses for the kids to ride and merry-go-rounds for them to play on and water skiing or sprouts that they could play in, you know, because that's what makes it fun. So it's serious and fun at the same time. It's not, and we want folk to come there, you know, with their Zumba sneakers on. We want them to come there ready to take some pictures and have fun and to invite their relatives, their friends. And when we're going to build relationships with them, we're going to try to help them set up my chart accounts. We're going to help them understand what's going on in research. And at the same time, we're going to have fun picnicking and beating up on Reverend Clayton on the basketball court, because I think that was earlier to him tripping over his own shoestring. But anyway, I'm just saying, hopefully it'll be fun.
Time out. Reverend Clayton, would you like to respond to not everything that Reverend Perry just mentioned, but maybe
I'm going to leave that
amplify.
topic alone, and I'm going to talk about something worthwhile now.
Please share.
At the health fair, there will be dietary health awareness. Everybody's talking about some kind of dietary health awareness. There are schemes. They got more ways of people losing weight. And I understand I don't have too much of that problem, but some people, they say they lose 10 and gain 20. But there may be someone there that can help you do it in a way that will be long-term helpful to you, along with the blood pressure and the Red Cross Blood Tribe. All these things are going on in the midst of the fun things that we will have. And I promise you, I'm going to have a 3-point shootout with somebody just to see what y'all got left in the tank. You don't have to run to shoot a 3-point shootout with.
Excellent. Gentlemen, we have about 10 minutes or so let's kind of maximize just our communion and really the blessing of being able to get the word out to folks and just to kind of let our hair down. If people see our hair down over on the air, we're going to let our hair down on the 22nd, Saturday the 22nd, and just be ourselves and recognize the communion and what does this word humanity mean for not only our present but the future.
Tom, I think that the Black church has been the institution that has been the lifeblood of our community. It has brought us through the antebellum South, through slavery. It's brought us through a lot of the racism and a lot of the atrocities that have taken place, even in healthcare. You know, we talk about the Henrietta Lacks, we talk about the medical apartheid, we talk about the plutonium studies, the grave robbers, we talk about how 240 Black hospitals in the South were closed because of the Flexner report that said that they were not adequate. And so Black people didn't have anywhere to go for healthcare because it was a segregated South. And so it was very difficult. Only 2 hospitals that the Flexner report gave support to was Meharry and Howard. And so when we look at the disparities and we say, well, why don't we have Black doctors and why don't we have Black nurses and why don't we have more Black hospitals? It was systematically and systemic in their annihilation. What we've done in our Cultural Ambassador program is tried to say we need to change the face of medicine. And that's one of the reasons we started the exposure program, taking high school students, and Reverend Clayton and I agreed it should even be earlier to put in a program they can see that, you know, it's not just for whites only. That whole institutional racism is being attacked on every level. and that we have to give them the exposure so that they can make a better choice about their career. And hopefully, if we do that, we can change the face of medicine, and folk will not fear going to the emergency room for thinking, oh, I don't have money or the color of my skin, or I'm going to be treated in a certain way, because they're going to be people who are black and brown who look like them and who've come from within those ranks, who understand their DNA and their history. So I think that, our cultural ambassador program, we train young cultural ambassadors, young college students. We give them 40 hours of training. We train them so that they can be community health worker certified, which is an expense in itself and takes a lot of work. And we do a lot of publicity in terms of, making photo cards and posters that will be distributed within the community, again, to help change the face of medicine, and to also say to black and brown people, this is not a white only thing anymore. This is an all of us event. And that's what this healthcare is. It's an all of us event. Doesn't matter what color you are, it's an all of us event. But we know the people at the bottom of that list has always been the black and brown people. And that's the people that we want to focus, but it's open to everyone.
Excellent, excellent. Reverend Clayton?
Yes, sir. About a month or so ago, in the Bridgeport Church, we had Dr. C.C. Calhoun come and share with us, sickle cell specialist. And one of the reasons we want her to come is to let our young people and our young girls see that they could also do this. And we had a district-wide program with Dr. Nunez-Smith, and she inspired one of our young children to at an early age, she's bent on being a doctor. I mean, she got a little lab jacket now, walks around with a little lab coat. It's amazing. But in order to change the face of medicine, you have to start young.
Yes.
We have these young ambassadors. We have the exposure program. This is great stuff. But we even going even younger. Let these children play doctor, play nurse. Let them think about being a pharmacist. Let them think about science. Let them think about these things in a fun way.
Yes.
So that when it's time to make a decision to choose their vocation, their career, this is in their mind. I can do this.
Yes.
So these are some of the things that we're trying to put before our young people so they can see that it is possible.
And the young people when Dr. Nunez-Smith and Dr. Calhoun spoke, they may not have known that Marcella and Cece have been on ABC, NBC, the Associated Press, CBS, the Washington Post. So bringing our talent, our gifts to one another and bridging that generational gap is so. Those are jewels. Those two ladies were jewels to kind of present right before, and for them to offer up themselves and their time for the young people. So impactful, so impactful. About 6 more minutes, everyone. So I just want to kind of remind you time wise, and let's see if we left anything out. More information, Reverend Perry, Reverend Clayton, if folks want to kind of get involved or even donate to the cultural ambassadors or just participate in some of your events throughout the years, or are there better ways for them to kind of be in touch and to secure more information?
They can go to Help Us Discover at yale.edu, and there is a number 1-877-978-8343 where they can get information and even talk about and discuss some of the studies that are going on here at Yale.
Repeat that again, just for someone that was just kind of scrambling, maybe for a pen or pencil to jot that down.
Okay, so the number is 1-877-978-8343. 978-8343, or they can email at helpusdiscover@yale.edu.
Excellent, 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 excellent. It's 90 seconds, everybody. So let's kind of, what else kind of comes to mind, Reverend Clayton?
Tommy, thank you for sharing with us today and allowing us to come and share the event on June 22nd. This great community health fair. The time is from 12 to 4 at Gulf Street Park. There might be some other things going on in New Haven, but you need to stop by and see us. Come and say hello to Tom Ficklin. Come and say hello to Dr. Perry. Wave at me. And come and see the doctors. Come and see the presenters. Come and see the scientists. Have a little fun and get your little Zumba dance on. You know, you might even see Dr. Perry try to get in that line dance. But the focus, you know, help people become aware of clinical research, help people understand what we're going to be talking about, or make awareness of kidney disease and sickle cell, autism, the whole nine. And there are many, many other health awareness topics that we can share with you, and professionals will be there to give us a better understanding of it. So come and join us, have a little food, listen to a little music. You may win a prize.
Reverend Perry, want to give you the last word?
Yeah. So my last word is, I'm going to bring it from the Temptations. I ain't too proud to beg. If I have to beg and plead for your sympathy, I don't mind, because you mean that much to me. Come to this event.
Excellent.
I'm saying.
Excellent. We'll
reserve. Get guitar off the wall, man, and work it out with you.
There you go. Name it and claim it. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Saturday, June 22nd from 12 to 4 at Gulf Street Park here in New Haven. Please come out, make the sojourn. It'll be worth it. Gentlemen, have a great day. Good to see you. Thank you so much for your commitment and your dedication. It's a blessing.
As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going. Better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up. Fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.